In the 1960s and 1970s, many US-based brands made cars that were considered to be very stylish, masculine, and high performance. We're talking about the famous muscle car, of course. Even though it's been about 50 years since these famous cars left the factory, car fans and collectors still love and want them. And while most American muscle cars from this period have a strong, aggressive, and purpose-built look, there are a few models that stand out as true classics. Many of these models came with higher-spec upgraded performance packages and some cosmetics packages, which made them even more high-performance than they already were. Here, we'll talk about 10 of the best American muscle cars that have ever been made. 10. 1967 Mercury Cougar GT. The legendary Mercury Cougar came with a Ford 390C big block engine as part of the GT spec package. The suspension, brakes, tires, and exhaust system were also upgraded. The model's flip-up headlights let it have an end-to-end grille during the day, which added to the aggressive look of the Cougar. Not only did this model sell very well for the company, but it also won the 1967 Car of the Year award from Motor Trend. 9. 1970 Ford Torino COBRA. Simply put, the Torino COBRA was a version of the Torino GT that was made for racing. The base model had a compression ratio of 10.5 to 1, but the COBRA had an 11.3 to 1 setup and 10 more horsepower thanks to upgraded heads, high lift cams, and several other changes. There was also a factory drag pack for these machines that added 5 AP and forged aluminum pistons, bringing the total power to a cool 375. 8. 1970 Ford Mustang Boss 429. There are a lot of iconic Mustang models from the 1960s and 1970s, but few, if any, are as special or elite as the powerful Boss 429. These rockets on wheels were made by Ford and were used in the first John Wick movie. They had aluminum intake manifolds, a single 4-barrel carburetor, and a 4-speed manual transmission. And with 375 HP, it was more powerful than the much weaker base model. The Boss 429 also had a body that was noticeably sleeker and more aggressive than the base model. It was only available in 1969 and 1970, and only 1,359 were made in total, making it one of the rarest Mustangs ever created. 7. 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. After Dodge's 1968 Charger 500 failed to win any races, the American company came back in 1969 with a new and better Charger Daytona. This high-performance machine was named after a famous racetrack in Florida. It had a very unique body with a pointed nose and a huge rear wing. Even though Dodge stopped making the Daytona after the 1977 model year, the popularity and reputation of this legendary model led the company to bring it back in 2006. 6. 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Copo Zul 1. Central Office Production Order is an abbreviation for Central Office Production Order. The Camaro Copo Zul 1 was an American pony car that was both fast and hard to find since only 69 were made during its whole production run. The Copo Zul 1 was a heavily upgraded version of the company's base model Camaro. The company said it had 430 EP, but real-world dyno numbers often went over 550 EP. 5. 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle 454. When this model came out, it was one of the 2 fastest muscle cars that money could buy. Even now, 50 years later, it is still known as one of the most famous muscle cars ever made. Less than 4,500 of these 6-powered demons on wheels ever left the factory, but Chevy sold the model in several different configurations and with even more options. 4. 1970 Buick Skylark GSX Stage 1. Motor Trend said that the GSX Stage 1 upgrade made the already good GS 455 even better and more track-focused. They also said that it was the fastest American production we had ever tested. The special editor model, of which only 687 were made in total, had upgraded engine parts, a dedicated graphics package, and a few aerodynamic changes to the bodywork that made it easier to move through the air. 3. 1969 to 1971 Baldwin Motion Phase E Corvette. Baldwin Chevrolet, a car dealer on Long Island, and Motion Performance worked together to make these ultra-light Corvettes. They were only made for a short time, from 1969 to 1971, before the US Justice Department shut down the operation. Only 10 of these prestigious cars were made, and each one was built to the customer's specifications. They all had Edelbrock intake manifolds, Holley carburetors, sunken lighting, a ram air hood, flared fenders, slit taillights, special rims, and much larger tires, among other small changes. 2. 1973 AMP Javelin. The AMP Javelin was written by legendary car designer Dick Teague, who was also responsible for groundbreaking cars like the Jeep Cherokee XJ. The AMP Javelin also came in different factory versions. Before the 1973 model year, this car was driven to victory in the Trans Am Race Series in both 1971 and 1972. It was also the first time that the American Highway Patrol and other law enforcement agencies used a pony car. 1. 1969 AMCAX. The AMCAX/3 is probably the most unusual car on this list. It was made in Italy, but it was designed in the United States. This sleek, powerful American supercar was first shown at the 1970 Chicago Auto Show. It was influenced by the exotic Italian cars of the time. Even though only 1,000 units were supposed to be made, US government safety rules caused the project to be scrapped after only 5 prototypes were made and about $2 million was spent on research and development. That was all about today's video. Hope you have enjoyed it. Give it a big thumbs up and subscribe our channel for such videos. Thanks for watching the video. See you in the next video.